This is sort of a standalone. This is a countertop model.
Cabbageware crazing on this glaze, which is very typical.
The water sits about right before the silver cap starts.
Back in the 1960s, kitchens were packed with bold gadgets and clever tools. Every item had a unique purpose, from spinning turkey ovens to mixers that made milkshakes. Some made life easier, others just made it more fun. Today, these quirky inventions might confuse or amaze Gen Z. Are you ready to explore the wild side of vintage cooking? Join us at 25 Craziest 1960s Kitchen Gadgets That Would Shock Gen Z. Have you ever imagined a turkey spinning in your living room? Yes, that actually happened in 1960. The General Electric rotisserie infrared oven looked like a mix of a UFO and a microwave, but it did serious work. This beast could roast a whole 16-pound turkey while making your guests stare in awe. It used infrared heat, which sounded super high-tech back then. No dry meat here. It basted itself while turning like a slow food ballet. You didn't even need to bend down or open hot doors. The lid lifted right up like a magic hat. Moms loved it. Dads bragged about it. And today's Gen Z would probably film it for TikTok, wondering what planet it came from. It was bold, bulky, and totally over the top in the best way. The Ronson Foodmatic was like having a secret chef hidden right inside your kitchen counter. It wasn't just a blender or a juicer. This thing could slice vegetables, shred cheese, grind meat, crush ice, juice oranges, and even brew coffee. That's not all. It could cook too, all of that in one built-in unit. You didn't have to pull it out or make space for it. It was right there, always ready to work. It looked smooth and modern, and having one made your kitchen feel ahead of its time. Guests were usually shocked when they saw it in action. Gen Z today would probably wonder why we don't build machines like this into counters anymore. In 1969, though, it was futuristic, flashy, and totally unforgettable. The General Electric portable mixer from 1961 came with more than just beaters. It wasn't only for mixing batter or whipping cream. This small machine had extra tools that could sharpen knives and mix drinks too.
Snap them off.
After baking, you could swap the beaters for the drink mixer and make a milkshake on the spot. If your knife was dull, the sharpener was ready to help. It weighed under 3 pounds but delivered big results. It came in cheerful colors like white, yellow, pink, and turquoise. Gen Z might laugh at sharpening knives with a mixer, but in the 60s, this was a fun and clever tool that made kitchen work easier. The Salton hot tray was designed to keep full dishes and platters warm right on the dining table. It wasn't meant for cooking or baking. It was all about holding heat at just the right level. Once the food was ready, you simply placed your serving bowls or casserole dishes on the tray and let it do the rest. No more running to reheat in the kitchen.
It's called a food warmer board. It has a glass top here. It warms up whatever kind of food you put on here.
The tray stayed warm without drying out the food, making it perfect for dinner parties or late guests. Sleek and simple, it blended into the table setup. Gen Z might rely on microwaves, but back then, this was the smart and stylish way to keep meals piping hot. Think that was cool? Wait till you see what the Salton Bun Warmer did with plain old dinner rolls. While the Salton hot tray kept full dishes warm, the Salton Bun Warmer had one job, making bread rolls taste amazing. This smaller, covered device was made just for buns, rolls, and pastries. It gently warmed them from all sides, keeping them soft inside and slightly crisp on the outside. Unlike the hot tray, which was open and flat, the Bun Warmer trapped heat to create that fresh-out-of-the-oven feel. Cold, dry bread at the table became a thing of the past. Whether it was breakfast toast or dinner rolls, this gadget made every bite feel fresh and fancy. Even today, few modern tools match its simple charm and perfect warming touch. The Ready oven looked small, but it packed a big punch. This electric tabletop cooker could hold a 3-pound roast or an 8-inch pie with no problem. It wasn't just for reheating, it actually cooked meals right on your table. It looked shiny and modern with a chrome finish and a porcelain interior. It had an automatic timer and could reach up to 500 degrees. People used it for frozen foods, baked potatoes, and even biscuits. You didn't need to fire up a full oven. Just plug this in, set the timer, and let it go to work. Guests could sit nearby while dinner cooked inches away. Gen Z might see it as strange, but in 1965, it felt like magic. It brought cooking power to the table in a compact little box. The front-loading Toast R oven wasn't just a toaster. It was a mini oven that could bake meatloaf and brown muffins. It's a big trick. The toast came out from the front. No more burning your fingers or digging with a fork.
See it in there on the video. It's pretty nice. It's in good shape. I don't have any of the labels or the box or the accessories or anything that...
You just pulled the tray and grabbed your food. It toasted bread evenly, but also did way more than expected. People could use it for frozen meals, pies, or even cheese sandwiches. It became a helpful sidekick in small kitchens. Compact but powerful, it gave folks a new way to heat food fast without using a full stove. In 1961, this felt like a big upgrade. Gen Z might think it looks chunky, but it worked hard. It was one of those gadgets you didn't know you needed until you used it. This gadget gave weekend breakfasts a fun upgrade. General Electric's combo waffle maker and sandwich grill had reversible plates. One side made fluffy waffles and the other grilled bacon, eggs, or sandwiches. You didn't need 5 separate tools. This one handled it all with ease. It was perfect for quick meals or slow Sunday mornings. The grill marks on the sandwiches made everything look and taste better. People loved how simple and useful it was. Gen Z might call it multifunction and compare it to an air fryer. But in the 60s, this was smart cooking. No range or fancy tools needed. Just one machine that made breakfast easier and more fun for everyone. If you liked that one, you're going to love how wild kitchen colors got with decorator-colored appliance sets. In 1969, kitchen tools didn't just do the job. They had to look good too. General Electric released appliance sets in wild colors like avocado green, flame red, and harvest gold. You could get mixers, can openers, skillets, and even blenders to match your kitchen vibe. This was a huge deal at the time. People wanted style with function. It wasn't just about cooking, it was about showing off your modern taste.
Before they were discontinued. They made these for a number of years.
The colors were bold and trendy, and guests would definitely notice. Today's Gen Z might think the shades are retro and ironic, but these were the height of cool back then. These weren't just tools, they were statement pieces. The idea of color matching everything from your toaster to your blender felt like a fresh and fun kitchen upgrade. The cherry pitter from back in the day looked like a tiny torture tool, but it was surprisingly helpful. Some versions had 2 finger holes and a little spring-loaded punch that popped the pits right out. Others clamped onto the table and worked with a crank. It saved hours of slicing and poking, especially when baking pies or making jam. You just place the cherry, press down, and boom, the pit was gone. Simple and smart.
Place it right inside this little hole here, face down, and squeeze the handle, and it comes right out.
It wasn't fancy, but it did the job fast. Today, Gen Z might skip fresh cherries just to avoid the mess. But people in the 1960s knew that a good cherry pitter made summer desserts way easier. It turned a sticky chore into something quick and almost fun. The electric knife became a big deal in the 1960s. It had 2 sharp blades that moved really fast when you plugged it in. It made a loud buzzing sound and cut through meat like magic. People used it to slice turkey, roast beef, and even bread. It made carving easier, especially at big family dinners.
Very smooth and easy.
No more fighting with a regular knife. Just press a button and let the knife do the work. Some came in fancy boxes and felt like a special tool. Today, most people go back to regular knives because they are sharper and easier to control. Since you can buy sliced meat at the store, not many use electric knives anymore. But back then, they were exciting, useful, and fun to show off. The egg coddler was a little ceramic dish with a lid, but it had a very specific job. You cracked an egg inside, added a bit of cream or butter, sealed it up, and placed it in boiling water. After a few minutes, out came a soft, rich egg, just right for toast or salads. These little coddlers were big in kitchens where people took their breakfast seriously. Some even had cute designs or floral patterns. You couldn't rush it, but the results were worth it. The egg came out warm, silky, and perfectly cooked without frying or scrambling. Gen Z might think it's slow, but it was part of the charm. This wasn't just cooking, it was a morning ritual. Now that breakfast is covered, let's move on to something that made kitchen work much smoother with the hand crank food mill. Before blenders took over, the hand crank food mill was the magic tool every home cook loved. It turned soft fruits and veggies into smooth sauces with just a few spins. No plugs, no buttons, just a handle and a little muscle. You'd drop in cooked apples, tomatoes or potatoes, turn the crank, and out came silky, seed-free goodness. It was perfect for making applesauce, mashed potatoes, or baby food from scratch. Moms used it all the time, and it felt satisfying to use. It was simple, quiet, and easy to clean. Gen Z might reach for a blender instead, but the food mill made cooking feel more hands-on. In the 1960s, this tool was a kitchen hero. The cookie press was every baker's secret weapon. This metal tube with changeable discs lets you shoot out perfect dough shapes. Flowers, stars, trees, you name it. You'd fill it with soft cookie batter, attach a shape plate, and squeeze the handle. Out popped a cute cookie every time. Great for holiday parties or just showing off your baking skills. Families passed these down like heirlooms. Making 100 cookies didn't feel like work, it felt like fun. Gen Z might use cookie cutters or digital ovens, but there's something sweet about squeezing dough with your hands. The old school cookie press made you feel like a baking pro, one perfect cookie at a time. The hand crank egg beater was part workout, part cooking tool. Two metal beaters sat at the bottom. You held the handle in one hand and spun the crank with the other. It whipped cream, beat eggs, and mixed batter without a plug or battery. It clanked and spun with a rhythm that filled the kitchen. People used it every day for cakes, pancakes, or breakfast scrambles.
Egg beater. No electricity required. You can even take it camping. I suggest it.
It was light, easy to clean, and didn't need any learning curve. Gen Z might call it vintage or ironic, but this thing was a kitchen staple for decades. It didn't just mix food, it connected people to the joy of doing things by hand, and it worked surprisingly well. Jell-O molds weren't just tools. They were the stars of the 1960s party tables. Almost every home had at least one hanging on the kitchen wall or hiding in a cabinet. These shiny metal molds came in circles, rings, or fancy shapes and were used to make wobbly desserts with fruit or vegetables inside. Some even layered colors to match holidays. Kids found them fun. Adults found them stylish. And they weren't just for sweets. People made savory dishes like tomato aspic, too.
It feels really soft. Maybe I should have made it like jiggler type. No, that'd be too hard, don't you think? I don't know. But I pulled away here and it's pulling away.
Gen Z would likely call it weird or quirky, but a perfect Jell-O mold showed off real kitchen flair in its time. It was as much about the look as the taste. This wiggly treat was a true showpiece at family dinners. That wobbly masterpiece was just the start. Prepare for the return of fondue sets and the party nights they created. Fondue sets turned simple meals into something social and fun. In the 1960s and 70s, having a fondue night was the cool thing to do. You melted cheese or chocolate in a shared pot over a small flame. Long forks let people dip bread, fruit, or meat right into the hot mix. It was cozy and interactive.
This fondue set comes with everything you need. Overall, we're incredibly happy with our purchase. Our friends were too.
Everyone gathered around, chatted, and snacked without needing a formal meal. The fondue pot sat on the table like a centerpiece. It was perfect for small parties or casual date nights. Gen Z might think it feels retro, but the idea remains. Sharing warm food with friends? That never goes out of style. It wasn't just eating, it was a kitchen event. The cake breaker looked like a fancy fork with long, thin wires, but it wasn't for eating. It was made to cut soft cakes like angel food without crushing them. Regular knives could ruin the fluffy texture. This tool slid right through without flattening a single bite. The wires were gentle but firm and left smooth, clean slices. It often came with silver sets and looked elegant on dessert tables. Cooks took pride in perfect cake cuts.
Used to cut angel food cake or sponge cake, pushes the cake down because it's so delicate and soft.
No more smashed pieces or messy chunks. It made serving cakes easy and clean. Gen Z might prefer pre-sliced options from the store, but in the past, using a cake breaker showed you cared about both looks and taste. It added a nice final touch. The chinois was a cone-shaped metal strainer used for making smooth sauces and custards. You poured your mixture inside and used a pestle or spoon to press it through the fine mesh. It removed lumps, seeds, and anything you didn't want in your final dish. This tool gave soups a silky texture and made fruit purees extra smooth. It wasn't fast, but it was worth the time. People used it to get that perfect finish in cooking. Some kitchens still have one tucked away. Gen Z might choose a blender or food processor, but the chinois was quiet and reliable. It didn't buzz or beep. It just worked. When you wanted something smooth and clean, it was the go-to tool. Butter molds were simple wooden blocks with patterns carved inside. You packed fresh butter into the mold, then popped it out for a fancy look. These patterns could be flowers, stars, or even animals. The butter didn't just taste good, it looked beautiful too. This was a small detail that made a big impression on guests. People used them for holidays or special meals. It showed extra care in something most people overlook. Today, butter comes in sticks wrapped in paper, but molded butter feels like art. Gen Z might scroll past butter molds online and not give them a second look, but back then, this little tool made everyday butter feel special and homemade in the best way.
I'm going to press it pretty hard so little more of the water squeezes out of it.
Butter looked fancy, but ice had its own star too. Check out the ice crushers that made loud pops and cold drinks. In the 1960s, manual ice crushers were must-have tools for fun home parties. Before blenders could crush ice, people used these handy gadgets with a simple hand crank. You dropped in some ice cubes, turned the handle, and out came perfect crushed ice for cold drinks or snow cones. Some sat on the counter, while others hung on the wall.
We've got a couple different models here of the manual. This is sort of a standalone. This is a...
One popular brand was the Maid of Honor, known for its shiny metal look and strong build. The crunching sound it made was part of the fun. Gen Z might reach for a blender, but this little machine made every drink feel like a special treat in the past. In the 1960s, burr grinders were a popular way to grind coffee at home. Instead of using blades to chop the beans, these grinders used two rough plates, called burrs, to crush them. This made the grind size even, which helped the coffee taste better. People loved burr grinders because they didn't heat up the beans too much, so the flavor stayed strong and fresh. Many homes had hand crank versions, but electric ones were also becoming common. Brands like Krups and Braun made them easy to use. Gen Z might just grab pre-ground coffee, but in the past, using a burr grinder was part of the joy of making a perfect cup. In the 1960s, Pyrex bowls were not just kitchen tools. They were colorful, patterned, and proudly displayed on shelves. These bowls came in flowers, dots, and bold colors like turquoise or bright yellow. They were strong, pretty, and useful all at once. People mix batter, bake in them, and even serve meals straight from them. They were passed down like treasures. Today, Gen Z might call them aesthetic, but they were simply part of daily life back then.
This entirely new and highly versatile type of dinnerware made of a new...
They lasted through years of use and still looked good. One bowl could go from fridge to oven and back again. For many, Pyrex was more than glass. It was a symbol of warmth, family, and simple home joy. In the 1960s, cabbageware was one of the most fun and eye-catching things you could have on your dinner table. These dishes were shaped and painted to look just like real cabbage leaves. They were bright green, full of texture, making every meal feel more special. The look was both playful and fancy. A Florida artist named Dodie Thayer helped make cabbageware popular in the U.S. Big names like Jackie Kennedy loved her handmade sets. Some people used them every day, others saved them for guests. Today, these leafy dishes are back in style, proving that something simple and pretty never really goes out of fashion. Now, let's head back to the mornings of the 1960s, when the smell of fresh coffee came from one simple tool on the stove. Before drip machines and fancy coffee makers, many people used a stovetop coffee pot every morning. In the 1960s, this little gadget sat right on the burner. You added water to the bottom, coffee grounds in the middle, and turned on the heat. As it boiled, the water moved up through the coffee and brewed a strong, hot cup. The smell filled the kitchen and told everyone it was time to start the day. These pots were simple to use and easy to clean. Some were shiny metal, others had glass tops so you could see the coffee bubbling. Gen Z might reach for a pod machine, but this was the real morning magic back then.